We'll go ahead and call the March 10th City Commission meeting, if everyone would stand for the invocation and the pledge. Dear Heavenly Father, we come to you this evening. Give us wisdom to make the best decisions on behalf of the city of Leesburg. In your precious name, amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We're going to move the agenda around just a little bit, and we're going to move Employee Service Award recognition. So Ms. Melissa and Al, if you guys would go ahead. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor, Commissioners. Melissa Arriaga, Director of Human Resources. Thank you very much. We have a good group of family members and coworkers here to recognize our employees. So we'll get started with our 5-year. Ms. Gina Frazier, Financial Reporting Manager. She has been with us for the last 5 years in the Finance Department. Congratulations. Yep. It's her first. Congratulations. The next gentleman, you may see him around, especially during the holidays with Christmas lights and everything, Mr. Jesus Rodriguez Garcia. He's a trades tech in the facilities division. Congratulations. Congratulations. The next gentleman we have, Sergeant John Shear. He started with us 10 years ago as a police officer, and today he is a sergeant and K-9 supervisor. Congratulations. On to our 15-year award, Miss Amanda Saunders. She started in Public Works, and she continues there now as a water conservation specialist. And she also brought her new addition to her family. Congratulations, Amanda. Next, on to our 25-year award, we'd like to recognize Battalion Chief Jamie Ricketson. He started with us in the year 2000. Fire Department, moved his way up, and today he is a battalion chief for the last 10 years. So congratulations for your 25 years. Congrats, Jamie. One more. 30 years. 30 years. There is quite a few of the staff here to recognize Sherry as well. Sherry Stafford, she started with us in 1995 in customer service, and she is currently the Assistant Customer Accounts Manager. She has been in customer service since she started the last 30 years. So we appreciate Miss Sherry. There you are. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Melissa and Al, and thank you to all of our hardworking employees that make this city run day in and day out. Thank you. Next, we'll move to proclamations. We have none. 3 presentations. We have, the first one will be Habitat for Humanity, Lake and Sumter, the Woodland Park update by Danielle Stroud. We'll give it a couple seconds to clear the room for all the families that are leaving.
See, what a small cookie. It's all right. It's okay, they'll still have it. Oh.
No, you kept it.
Okay.
Do you
thank
need it?
This one?
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
It was good for clarification.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, good. Okay.
Look, that got real small, real quick.
All right, you're all set.
Thank you guys so much for having me. I'm not Danielle Stroud. I'm Veronica Troxel. I'm the programs director with Habitat. I'm going to be trying to fill her very high and very big shoes today. So thank you. I'm here to talk with you a little bit about the Spruce Up the Block party, specifically that we are doing in Woodland Park, Leesburg. So as I said, I'm the programs director. I have the honor of working closely with the families through the programs we offer for home ownership, home repair, and different education programs that we have as well. So I am honored to be here to talk to you guys today a little bit about the history of our Spruce Up the Block program. We started it in April of 2018. Our first one was in Mount Dora, but we quickly were able to spread this program throughout Lake and Sumter counties. It's basically a adopt a block. So we pick a block of a city or an area of our community that has been either forgotten, they don't have access to resources, or they don't have the attention that they so much deserve from their cities. So we're able to come in and we're able to have families apply to receive home repair, beautification, basically to clean up the exterior of their community and their home as one. So typically with our programs, you have to income qualify. This program's a little different. We are selecting that based on the community, not on individuals qualifying, but on this block or this community or this neighborhood. So just by living there, you get to participate in the program. In our first 14 block parties since 2018, we've served over 100 families, and some of those local community centers, so churches and different facilities that the churches may have and may offer. So we've been able to directly serve those families and those community the points in the community that everybody gathers, right? Those are also very important. So we've been able to help preserve a lot of homes and those community centers. We're able to do that, and we wanted to create this program to connect people in the community. So we found that a lot of times citizens, their worries and their needs weren't being addressed. So we said, how can we talk to them and figure out what their needs are and help them address them? So that's why we created this, to bring community partners together to support us in serving the individuals in the community. So we've been able to have a successful Spruce Up the Block parties throughout Lake and Sumter counties with our local vendors. So Florida Paints, one of our vendors, has donated a total of over 400 gallons of paint that they've donated to us to help serve these neighborhoods and to help us do more. The more we have donated for a project, the more we can do in that community. We've had Niagara, they've donated pallets of water, been there, dumped that. They've donated dumpsters so that we can help clean up these communities at a more affordable cost, and we can do more for them. And then looking at the helping hands that help us actually do the work on the communities, a lot of it comes directly from the communities. We invite the families to work alongside our volunteers to create their community spirit, right, to help them continue to give back to their neighbors as well. So the Leesburg Construction Academy is one of our newer helping hands, if you will, for this project. We have youth groups from all over Lake and Sumter County come out, and we have groups from Lake County that will go to a Sumter County block party and work. So it's very interconnected. And we have a lot of college groups that come and stay with us, and they're able to help directly on these projects. Ohio State, Massachusetts Maritime Academy, University of Toledo. We have interns that come stay with us from France every summer, and so we'll have them out on all these different projects. So we're able to bring the vendors and bring our community and these helping hands together in order to be successful with these different block parties we're doing. So specifically, I want to talk about Woodland Park, what a special community Woodland Park is. And we've basically adopted the entirety of Woodland Park for this block party. 47 homes total. So of course, maybe not every family wanted to participate. Some families some are rentals, some are vacant, but 18 applied for the block party. So it's 18 individual families in that community we're able to serve. 15 of them are going to be receiving updates, and currently 11 of the 13 we're going to be painting are painted, and we're working towards wrapping up the end of the school year. So this is a really special project because we've actually been working directly with Leesburg High School Construction Academy. So they have two different sets of students. They have the Dream Team, which gets to help Habitat build a brand new home. But they have another faction called the Crew, and the Crew's actually been able to help us throughout their entire school year with this project. It's been really fun getting the kids out multiple times a week. They're coming in, they're working directly with the Woodland Park families on painting, fixing fascia, fixing soffit, all that. So the students on the Crew are able to work directly with the families and our other volunteers and vendors that come out. We had 80 other additional volunteers so far, with more scheduled, coming out and joining us to spruce up Woodland Park. And Woodland Park, if you haven't been through it, it's very different now than it was a few months ago. So I want to give an opportunity to Sheila and Miss Cressida. They're going to speak a little bit. I want you guys to hear directly from some of the families that are able to participate and have helped us get others to participate. You know, it's very hard to say, sure, I'll let you come onto my property and work on my home. So they've been crucial in getting these families to commit to us. So I'll invite Ms. Sheila and Cressida up.
We, the Woodland Park community, would like to extend our thanks and gratitude to Commissioner Ellison Berry and the Habitat for Humanity of Leesburg, Leesburg High School Construction Academy students, and all volunteers from Lake and Sumter County for all their hard work at this time in helping us revitalize the neighborhood.
Hi, I'm Cressida Foster, and I stay at 2106 Woodland Boulevard in AKA Hollywood. So I want to say thank y'all so much. I want to give a special shout out to the University of Toledo and the Knights of Columbus. That's a nice group. They help. No complaints, nothing. And the Hollywood community is looking like Hollywood. It looks good, y'all. Y'all need to ride through and check it out. I am so proud of my neighborhood now, and I thank y'all.
So again, we get to connect these families directly with people coming into their community to help serve them. One of my favorite things about the Spruce Up the Block party, and it goes back to why we created this, was to connect with the community. And so oftentimes communities get told what they need, and we wanted to change the script a little bit and ask them what they need. So this has been a really great project. Just a couple more things. So yes, a big shout out, a big thanks to the city of Leesburg for supporting us in this. It's a big undertaking, and then also to the Leesburg High School Construction Academy for helping us. I know he's not here, but I do want to shout out Dan McCulley. He is the Construction Academy leader for the Crew, not the Dream Team, but the Crew that's been in Woodland Park every week. And he has been instrumental, and the support that he's given us, he's led our volunteers on site when our staff couldn't be there. He's been fabulous, and we could not do it without the support of you here and with Leesburg High School and Mr. McCulley. He's very wonderful. And I want to take you guys through a few of the before and afters I've got here. So this one, we did exterior painting, and we're hoping to add a little bit of landscaping so you can see little things make a big difference. This one is a great example. We did some soffit and fascia repair. We repaired the ceiling of their carport, and we did exterior paint. And as you can see in the after photo, you would think, man, Habitat got rid of all their grass. Why would we do that? So actually, that first photo is all weeds, so it's not actual grass. And we didn't get rid of it. Actually, it inspired us being in the neighborhood, inspired the family to do things they've needed to do for a while. They had someone come in and help them clear it, and they plan to do more, whether they're going to plant grass or put sod down. But that's what this is about. It's about inspiring the community to serve themselves, to get out there with a paintbrush and help us help them and help your neighbor. And, inspire you to do those little things you've been putting off. It's just the outside of my house. Yeah, but your neighbors drive past that. And when they get to drive past their community and feel proud and feel that sense of, wow, we did this together, it's really special. This last one is a really good example of a lot of the clearing we did. You can't see it. A lot of it was in the back, but we cleared 10 foot of brush so that they have more yard, more space. We removed rotting wood, minor porch repairs, a door, patio, and home painting. So not every house gets the same things, but again, we're working with each family to provide what we can and what they may need in that situation. So connecting with these families and getting closer to connecting them with what they need and with people in their community that they might not know were there, but they do now, and they have that special connection. You'll always have friends in Toledo. Okay, so I would like to end with inviting you guys to our Spruce Up the Block party, the actual party part. We're going to have food and all kinds of fun on March 29th. Danielle did send you guys out an invite. We would love for you guys to RSVP with us because we're going to have two options. You can come out in the morning at 8 a.m. You can roll up your sleeves and you can do some volunteering. We're going to be putting out some mulch and some landscaping, as my construction guy Kevin likes to call, putting the bow on. So we're going to be out there putting bows on these projects, doing the last final staples of the beautification, and then at around 11:30, we're going to start the party. So we're going to have food and some fun, some entertainment. We would love for you guys to come out and join us in celebrating all of the hard work that's gone into Woodland Park and how beautiful it is. Hollywood. I'm sorry. Any questions? I wanted to save enough time.
I don't have any questions, but I just would like to thank you, and please pass the word on to Danielle. I have spoken with her. I am so elated to see that the interest is taking in an area where it was much needed as a start, a small project that could take throughout Leesburg area if we all just join hands and try to make a improvement where we live.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for your
Absolutely.
time and the energy that has been spent. I'm really elated. I'm very, very excited. Thank
If you haven't been through in the past
I
few
have
weeks,
been through.
I tell you what, we really stepped it up. We're like, we're getting to the end of the school year. Let's step it up a little bit and get these done. Anybody else?
I just want to say thank you, Miss Veronica. You filled Danielle's shoes well.
Thank you.
You did a great job, and thank you for the presentation. It was very well, and it's eye-opening to see the transformations, and we look forward to continuing this. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you guys so much.
Next, we move to the 2026 Commission Seat Redistricting Proposal.
Good evening, everybody. I'll go through this real quick. Back in January, Mayor Reisman brought this up, redistricting for the city of Leesburg. I think when we redistrict back a few years ago, we kind of knew this was coming because of the villages and how to deal with that growth, because we knew once the villages grew and at the pace they grew, it was going to inundate one commission district or another. So with that, just a little quick history. If I find the right clicker here. We changed districts back in 21 from the old setup where we were 3 commission districts, 1, 2, and 3, with 2 at large. That's kind of how we were. And then we switched to the 5 single-member districts, and that was the breakdown as it is. The growth area is pretty much the villages, which is this section right in here, and current District 2, which is Mayor Reisman's district. So when we went on back in 21 to redistrict the districts, a couple of the guidelines there wanted to have everything as far as population. And it's not voter age, but it's population in the district. We want that as equal as follows. You want to follow census blocks or significant boundaries, roads, streets, rivers, creeks, those type of things. We want districts to be contiguous and as compact as possible. We want to preserve communities of interest. So if you have a group of elderly or younger folks or whatever, those are type areas that you do want to keep in communities of interest, because everybody's interest is a little bit different. We don't, and then on the flip side, you don't want to dilute interests. You want to, as much as possible, protect incumbents. So our next election is 26, and up for election is Mayor Eastman, Commissioner Berry. Commissioner Peterson is termed out. So those are the 3 districts that are up. So really, of the districts redrawing, the seats that are of most interest to protect incumbency is to protect seat 2 and seat 1, because those commissioners or those elected officials really have the right to seek re-election in a district that elected them in the first place. So that's a significant issue with redistricting. And then you don't want to do anything crazy and bizarre, although we do see that happen from time to time. Some other rules of thumb: your population, you want to keep plus or minus 3%. We want to see the continuation of a majority-minority district. And one of the things that make redistricting a little bit difficult now is we're doing it in an off year. So the data that we're using is similar to the 2020 data from the census that came out in 21. But we did a couple of things to weave in new data. So I wanted to go over those with you. So the first thing that we used is we did continue to use the same census blocks, but the Census Department has what they call the American Census Survey. So every year the federal government does their best to update the census. It's not as widely accepted as the census, which comes out every 10 years, but it is seen as a good data source. We also have building permits, so we know where houses have been constructed in Leesburg since 21. And then probably the biggest deviation that we use to extrapolate data for population as well as demographically, we use 2 different numbers, which I think are acceptable numbers. So in areas that were outside the villages, it's pretty widely accepted that a household has 2.3 persons per unit. So what we did is where we knew we had new housing, we know we have that data. So like Eagle Tail, the new subdivisions that have popped up outside of the villages, we knew how many houses came in from today to 21, and so we multiplied that by 2.3 to get a population number. But in the villages, we took a little bit of a different approach, and we took a population number of 1.9. So and we got that number from the villages because that's the demographic data they use. So we mix. We know the villages has a different demographic than typical communities. We know they're elderly. We know they're a little bit more of means, and we know that there's a little bit less of a household number per household. So we use their numbers. Our concern was that if we use 2.3 for the villages, we knew that would overestimate our populations, and then it would inversely give the villages too much population, so where we would draw too many seats. So that's why we use 2 different numbers. So on the face, I'm going to say I think we used extremely sound logic. We reviewed this with Grant. The IT and GIS department, I got to tip my hat to them. They did a great job putting all these together. And then it became extremely cumbersome in terms of trying to carve everything up, keeping all those goals in mind. So this is what we came up with. So I'm going to skip right past this because as soon as we came up with this map, Commissioner Cannell got with me and pointed out a deviation. So let me just go to the deviation because the deviation is really the better proposal, I think, for the villages and the city of Leesburg. So each of the seats, so our population with those extrapolation methods I put forth just a second ago is about 32,750 persons. Divide that by 5. Plus or minus. So we didn't want to see a district seat that was less than 6,300 people, but not more than 6,700 people. So our districts, we were really able to carve out and hit each number pretty much on the button. So District 1, and I'm gonna drop the word proposed, but Obviously, until this is adopted, these are all proposed districts and proposed population figures. So district number 1 is a population of about 6,528 people. District number 1 is really tricky because district number 1 has historically been our minority district since the mid-90s. And to be able to get a majority minority in that district, you really need 2 census blocks that are 80% African American. And if you don't get those 2 census blocks into that district, you can't get 50% African American district, the majority minority. And those 2 districts on opposite sides of town. So that makes it difficult. And that district block is up here in Carver Heights and then over here on Pine Street. So to get a District 1 that's a representative of majority minority, you got to carve this district out. And so when you look at kind of what we did when we did this before, we got these inverse Cs here. And those probably aren't the typical districts you want to see, but they keep within the metes and bounds. But this year, when we went back through, keeping into making sure we have Pine and Carver together in one district, we were able to carve that out. Next district is District 2. District 2 had about 6,517 people. So again, really representative population-wise. And the problem that we had with District 2, of all the growth issues that we've had, that we've talked about, that we've brought in, outside of the villages, we've still seen kind of moderate growth to today, around 3 to 4%. So it hasn't been crazy. But what we saw was the villages moved in to district number 2. And so a seat, when it was carved up in 21, that had about 5,500 people in it, had 3,200 new homes times the 1.9. So about 6,000 people moved into that district. So as we sit right now, District 2 is up for re-election in 26, and it has about 12,000 people that live in it. So it's clearly malapportioned. So, and that again was brought to us, our attention. We knew it, and Mayor Reisman also brought that up back in January. So what we do here basically is to make that correct, we come up with a village district. And so what does that village district look like? Our first cut of it just took in and created new District 3, which was just the villages. The second cut of it, after talking with Commissioner Cannell, is we put in the undeveloped area of the villages into that district. So that's basically Secret Promise, and what was Renaissance Trails is now all of this property that the villages bought from us, which is pretty much everything north of the Turnpike along 470, which they bought from the city. But then the villages bought this little chunk here. They bought Secret Promise, and they brought the old Renaissance Trails. So all this area of the villages, let's call it south of the Turnpike and south of 470, probably going to be developed, say, in the next 3 to 7 years. The villages pattern has kind of gone. They came in, they filled in villages of Westlake, north of 470. They've gone back up, now working in Sumter County. But when that development is completed, we anticipate that they return south of 470, probably start in the Leesburg area again, and then work back into Sumter County. I think probably, say, this is my great crystal ball, right? So probably the 2030 census, depending on how quick the villages moves back into that area, is when we'll see this area get developed. But for now, the grand total change in population shift since I talked to Commissioner Cannell was 40 people. So that was a good one to shift. And what I like about this concept was it keeps the villages, which was our goal, really, which was the intent, I think, of the voters when we passed the referendum, was to keep the villages as much as we could in one single district seat. So that certainly keeps within that. The thing I don't like about the concept was I didn't think of it myself. So I should have saw that. We kept it. We basically kept the old District 3 is District 3, which now incorporates that undeveloped portion of the villages. So when we got the number, we were happy and ecstatic that we got the number, and we didn't do the one more obvious next step, which is, we should take all that undeveloped area here and stick it into that village's district. And District 4 then becomes all of South Leesburg. So really the dividing line becomes kind of core old Leesburg, District 2, down to 48, and then everything that's not in the villages or owned by the villages. South of 48 is District 4. District 3 becomes the villages. And then District 5 is probably the biggest change of the districts as far as geography. Numbers, it's a little bit bigger at 6,500, almost 6,600 people, but it really incorporates kind of 3 areas of the community, being Sunnyside, Beverly Shores, and kind of South Leesburg, Palmore Park area. So we wrap all those together. I think it's a really representative map. I think they're good sound districts as far as population. I think they're good sound districts as far as communities of interest that we encapsulate. And even I think what's better with this map than our first stab at it in 21 was they really do become a lot more compact and contiguous, meeting pretty much all the litmus standards when you redistrict. So that's our modified proposal for you. On your desk, because I was out last week, I brought in the modified map. There's no action on this tonight other than whatever input you'll have. If you all are happy with where we're at, the next step is just to put it in the ordinance form and then to adopt it. The other a little bit that I'm remiss if I don't go into this as far as an organizational setup and the ordinance, which I think I sent out a copy of that to you in the packets, but I didn't put it up here for the public. But the ordinance is a standard ordinance. But the meat of the ordinance typically states that these districts, these new drawn districts, go into effect for the November 2026 election, so that when people come to qualify in Andy's office next summer, they will need to have lived in one of those districts for 6 months, which is the basic criteria. And they go into effect for the election, but they don't take effect until your organizational meeting. And that's because 2 reasons. Commissioner Peterson's termed out. So Commissioner Peterson lives down there in Palmora Park, which is actually his district. District 4 is going away because District 4 and 5 get blended together. So Commissioner Peterson is going to be a commissioner through the organizational meeting. So you don't want to get rid of a district that he represents until that time. And same with Commissioner Cannell. Even though Commissioner Cannell lives down there in Arlington Ridge, which is current District 3, his district takes on a little bit less area because of the growth in South Leesburg, but he still has 2 more terms. So the proposal is to reassign Commissioner Cannell from existing District 3 to new proposed District 4, which is ostensibly his district, and then Commissioner Cannell is termed out. And kind of the same thing also happens with Commissioner Berry. Although he lives over here in Sunnyside, the new part of his district, for the same reasons as Commissioner Cannell, he absorbs kind of that South Palmore Park area, but he then gets assigned that district in January. So the ordinance sets all that out. So that's really the report. Whatever feedback you have, if you guys are happy with it, we'll move forward. If you want to see some more shots at redrawn lines, we can do that.
Any feedback from the commissioners?
I compliment you. I think you did a great job on it, Al.
I'm fine with it.
All right. Seeing none, we'll move on. Thank you, Al. Next, we're going to move to public comments. This section is reserved from... Who?
Oh, no, we don't. I'm sorry. I'm ahead of myself.
We're going to move to public comments. You're good. This section is reserved for members of the public to bring up matters of concern or opportunities of praise. Please note that issues raised during this time will not be discussed in detail during the current meeting. They will either be referred to the appropriate staff or scheduled for consideration at a future City Commission meeting. Each speaker is allocated 3 minutes to provide their comments. Kindly adhere to this time limit to ensure equal opportunity for all participants and to support the efficient conduct of the meeting. Thank you. Do we have any public comments? When you come to the mic, if you would, please state your name and address for the record. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Vonda Parker,
My name is Max Parker Jr.
and we are the founder and co-founder of VMAX for One Community Incorporated. We wanted to publicly thank you, commissioners, for coming out and participating on March the 1st, Boxing Legends Fashion Runway Showcase. You did an amazing job. And on behalf of our youth and parents, and we just want to publicly thank you, and we have a little token for you today.
In addition, we understand that Commissioner Connell had another obligation. Also, we have a token for you, sir.
We wanted to bring the video, but it was too long to show.
Appreciate you not bringing it. Wow, blown up photos. Oh, thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I was hoping there were no photos.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, good evening. My name is Jen McCurry. I live in Palmora Park, and I'm a founding member of the Street Dreams Cruising Corp., a local nonprofit organization that facilitates the Main Street Car Show. As you may know, our mission with the Leesburg Main Street Car Show has never changed. We were and are committed to providing a safe and free family event for the entire community while driving foot traffic and potential revenue to downtown Leesburg merchants and to our sponsors. In addition, we continue to drive awareness and raise funds for charities throughout our area. We're extremely grateful to our sponsors who recognize the potential to grow the car show into an event that would benefit all. However, we continue to have to cancel our event last minute with little to no notice from the city of Leesburg. Each time we cancel, we're still responsible for the cost associated with that event. In each event we cancel, we miss the opportunity to drive foot traffic into the downtown market and miss the opportunity to help worthwhile causes in our community. In the 18 months since we separated from the partnership, the event has been canceled last minute 5 times. It was almost canceled an additional 2 times above that, but we were able to scramble and pull it off. Once because of the mayor helping us out one weekend. 4 of the times the show was canceled, the city forgot to deliver the barricades. For safety, we cannot hold an event without the barricades, and last month, had it not been for a city employee who ran into Rick and asked about the car show being canceled, we wouldn't have had the event in February either. Then last week on March 5th, we received an email from a cruiser asking about the Arts Festival being scheduled at the same time as the car show. We knew nothing about it. No one in the city had contacted us. We sent an email that evening explaining March is our largest event each year, and our charity this month was to help pay for funeral services for an officer who had passed away. We had 147 cars last month, and there was an hour wait at most restaurants to be seated. We packed out downtown. We expected closer to 200 this month. So we spent the next 2 days in a heated discussion, and it appears that the phrase in our permit, quote, weekly availability is at the sole discretion of the city manager or designee, translates to we can cancel your event and give it to someone else. I honestly thought that the phrase meant if you wanted a weekly permit, it would be up to the city manager. When reviewing the application itself, it only gives direction if the applicant wants to cancel the event. I could not locate anything about the city canceling. The permit you receive once the application is approved does have the clause, special event permit may be revoked by the city of Leesburg if the applicant violates any state, county, or local regulations. To sum up all this information, after having to cancel 26% of all of our events in the past 18 months, we're starting to get the feeling we're not wanted. And we cannot continue to run an event where we throw money out the window 26% of the time. It just doesn't make sense to do so. So I have several suggestions and a question.
Ms. McCarthy, your 3 minutes is up.
Okay, thank you.
Al, do you?
Yeah, I'll be in touch with Ms. McCarthy. Travis brought McCurry. I'm sorry.
Sorry.
I will be in touch with Ms. McCurry. This issue was brought to my attention today. So some of the data that she brought up, I was not aware of until this moment. She did send an email, which I did not get the chance to review today. But I will get with Travis, and obviously we've got some logistical issues. Obviously, every event is important to the city, and it sounds like we've got some work that we need to do to repair relationships and fix the event. So we'll be on it.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Good evening, Dr. Erica Jasper. On behalf of the Men of Distinction, I just want to thank the City of Leesburg and also the City Commission for showing up and just showing out at our gala during Black History Month and also the Black Heritage Festival. We had a grand time. We've gotten so much positive feedback, and also it was just a great day and a beautiful day for the parade, the festival on that Saturday. And thank you all for joining us for the gala. So thank you so much for your participation. We really appreciate it. Thank you.
Any other public comments? Yes, sir.
Hello, my name is Dr. Geraldo Rodriguez. I've been a city resident for 21 years, and I am an avid tennis player. So I just want to bring up to Mr. Mayor and the City Commission, and I know part of your budget will be refurbishing or resurfacing the course located at Water and Palmetto Street. I mean, I know it's been over 5 years since any kind of resurfacing was done, and the courts are beginning to show the wear and tear. They're very used. The Leesburg High School used them. In fact, this week cannot play with it there, but we wait until they finish. So we know those courts are used. They are a major part of the city of Leesburg for tennis players, and especially because they have night lights, which is wonderful. So you can look at your city budget. I would appreciate it, and keep it in mind for the tennis players and for health.
Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you.
Any other public comments? Seeing none, we'll move to the consent agenda. Routine items are placed on the consent agenda to expedite the meeting. If the commission or staff wish to discuss any item, the procedure is as follows. 1, pull the items from the consent agenda. 2, vote on the remaining items with one roll call vote. 3, discuss each pulled item and vote by roll call. Are there any items the commissioners would like to pull tonight?
5C4.
Any other items? Is there a motion to approve all the remaining items?
Yeah, so moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Commissioner Connell?
Yes.
Commissioner Burry?
Yes.
Commissioner Peterson?
Yes.
Commissioner Barry? Yes. Mayor Reisman?
Yes. Would someone please introduce 5C4? Yes, ma'am.
Resolution of the City Commission of the City of Leesburg, Florida, authorizing the mayor and city clerk to execute a construction services agreement with GSB Construction and Development, Inc. to build a restroom facility at John L. Johnson Park and providing an effective date.
Motion to approve.
Discussion?
Yeah, so I'm the one that pulled it. I reviewed the contract from beginning to end, and for number one, for contractual purposes, I never found the square footage. I thought it should be in there. There may be an exhibit missing, but it wasn't in there. Number two, I was just trying to do the math on a per square foot basis. But my first comment was probably more important. It's a long contract, and I read it a couple times, trying to find the square footage. Just FYI. I'm not going to vote it down. I'm just bringing it to your attention.
So I can tell you the square footage. It's a copy. It's a copy of our existing restrooms, which are at Ski Beach and where was the other place? 800 square.
Okay.
So Ski Beach and where's the other place we put one of those up? Berry Park. Same restroom, same style. So and and I'll just recap, and I don't mean to be long-winded, but we had put this in the budget in 23, and we spent about the same number, about $250,000 building these. So that number's about the same as it was before. But you guys kicked this back to us because we tried to go a cheaper route, and the cheaper route ended up being twice as expensive by going a prefab all concrete model and trying to keep it aesthetically pleasing. So when we were busting the budget on that, you guys sent that back to us and said, cheapen this up. So we went back to scratch, which was to use the old construction plans, which we got from Jamie Senator as our architect. So we had to pay him about $2,500 to get his rights to reuse his plans. We ended up paying Keith Riddle about $20,000 or 18 or so to do the site plan work. And then we went out in bid, and so the construction contract is what's before you at 244. So we had 300,000 in the budget, and all in will be about 265. Divided by your 800, and you get your square.
I did that math. Okay, I'm fine. Thank you.
Any other comments? Any public comments? Seeing none, roll call.
Commissioner Berry?
Yes.
Commissioner Peterson?
Yes.
Commissioner Berry?
Yes.
Commissioner Connell?
Yes.
Mayor Reesman?
Yes. We have no public hearings and non-routine items. Second readings, we have none. First readings, we have none. Non-routine items. Would someone please introduce 6C1?
Introduce, has to be read by title only.
Resolution of the City Commission of the City of Leesburg, Florida, appointing members to the Beautification Advisory Committee and providing an effective date.
Move for approval.
Second.
Second. If any of the applicants are here, we would like, if you would like to come up, just give a brief, 30-second spiel that why you feel like you should be on the board, and we'll go from there.
Do you want the timer?
Yeah. Or we'll just. We have 30 seconds. Can you do 30?
Good evening. Dr. Erica Jasper once again. I've applied for this committee because I think it's important. Leesburg is my home. I was born and raised here. I've been active in the community since God knows when. I was active in the CRA board with the cleaning up projects, and I just think that this is an opportunity just to take our beautification efforts to another level. As we saw earlier, Habitat for Humanity came forth with their beautification, inspiring the community, and I would just love to see Leesburg, as we continue to grow with extended tourism and also the residential side, how our city can grow and can be recognized from a beautiful city. So I'd just love to be a part of this and just take it to another level. So thank you.
Dr. Jasper.
Good evening, Paula Jordan. Twofold. I applied for this because, well, I've lived here for about 30 years, and I agree with all the sentiments that our city is beautiful, and green spaces, and color, non-litter, those all make for happiness and a feeling of well-being. Secondly, I facilitate a little-known program through Livestream to where our students go out into the parks every Wednesday for approximately 2.5 hours, and we pick up trash. And I would like to see that continue, and I would like to expand that program for those students to assist them in developing an attachment to their city, the community that they live in, and give them some more opportunities for vocational experiences, as well as maybe, planting some flowers or painting some park benches or whatever that could possibly turn out to be. But I would like to see that program to be expanded, so that's a secondary reason for applying for this position. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Jordan.
Damani Nettles. I'm the coach at Leesburg High School, a realtor of Central Florida. I'm also involved in many community around Leesburg. When I came from college, my goal and vision was to come back to the community and show my younger generation that we can be involved in many organizations and many boards. So that is one of my reasons for joining and applying for this committee, because I believe that if I could stand to show that you could come home and you could be a part of organizations, you could be a part of boards, and you continue to help and grow your city that you came from. Thank you.
Thank you, Damani.
Hello, my name is Diane Vanetta, and I have raised my 2 children here in the city of Leesburg. We've been here for 25 years, and I would really like to be a part of it because one of my focuses is on youth gardening. I work a lot with our public schools, and we do school gardens. I would really like to see some edible plants, flowers, vegetables, much like they mentioned before, really with a focus on the youth and educating them and getting them involved. So if they have a place to come, they have people that are willing to go there with them and teach them, I think it would mean a lot to the community.
Thank you, Ms. Vanetta.
Hi, my name is Brittany Leonard, and my husband and I, we remodeled houses for 10 years in North Carolina, and I had my real estate license, and we would follow the market. We recently moved here about 2.5 years ago, and we opened a business in downtown Leesburg. It's a home decor store. And, I don't claim to be an expert in any area, but we would help in any way that we could. And would love to see Leesburg grow. We love the growth that we've seen already just being here, the last year that we've been here. And we know that Leesburg has a lot of potential, so we would love to be a part of it.
I would have whispered it. I'll get it. Thank you, Miss.
Hi, my name is Lisa Humphreys, and my parents moved to Leesburg in 1969, and I've been here my whole life. I love this town. I love to do anything that I can to take care and preserve Leesburg to make it the best that it can be. So that's why I'd like to be on this committee.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Deb Jane with Bases Loaded, and I am already a part of Keep Lake Beautiful on the advisory committee, and also a volunteer for America in Bloom. And I've lived here in Leesburg for about 5 years now, and this is my forever earthly home. So I love it here, and I'm here to keep it clean.
All I have to say, 7 applicants for a new board is impressive. I wish we got all these kind of this many applicants on all of our other boards. We had 7 show up tonight, and I think we had 9 or 10 apply.
Mm-hmm.
So, would the commission like to make any recommendations?
Yes, I'd like to nominate Diane Vanetta.
Okay, we have Diane Vanetta. I would like to nominate Lisa Humphreys, if at all possible. And then I think it's really cool to have some fresh new blood coming onto the boards. I was really impressed with a lot of the applicants. Do you want to speak on that, or do you want me to? Wait, we'll just wait. Okay. And then, do you guys have any other recommendations? Or, well, we have Diane Vanetta, Lisa Humphreys. Any other? You guys? I mean.
Yeah, I'll nominate Dr. Erica Jasper.
Okay. And then any other? Or if not, I'll make another recommendation of if Paula Jordan. So it was brought to my attention there may be an organizational conflict with one of the nominees. It was a last minute thing that popped up with Damani Nettles because he serves on another board. There was an organizational conflict. I don't think you can serve on 2 boards.
You can only serve on one board when they're totally differently related?
I'll refer to Grant or Al.
Yeah, I think it depends on what the authority of the board is. If the board has any final decision-making authority, then I think it's problematic to be on multiple boards. There could be some difficulties, I guess, with being on multiple boards and trying to avoid sunshine issues in terms of making sure you keep track of the folks that you can only really converse with sort of in the public meeting sphere. But I think really the primary legal concern would be if there were final decision-making authority on one of those boards, and if you were on 2 of them, then you might have a dual office problem, I think would be the
What is the
concern.
conflict of the other board? What is the other board
I don't
that
know
he
what
sits
the other
on?
board is.
The rec board.
The rec board.
And the rec board and the beautification is a
I don't
conflict?
think either one. I don't know. Do either one of them have final decision-making authority? I don't think
I
they
don't
do.
think so.
Do they? Planning and zoning is the only one I think that
So
has.
there's not a conflict.
That's
There's
not.
not a conflict as far as as far as I'm concerned with that discussion.
Can I make another recommendation, or is that?
No, we haven't voted yet.
Okay. And the board contains how many people?
5.
5 people. Okay. Never mind. I thought it was 9, but you're saying. Okay.
We had 10 apply, and the board sits 5.
And I'm just trying to be sure we're all clear. Damani does serve on the West Leesburg CDC, but that is.
That's not a city.
Okay, I thought that was our
That's a
board. I thought that was the
volunteer.
one that joined us, is why I brought that up. Okay.
That's a volunteer.
So right now, we have Paula Jordan, Dr. Erica Jasper, Ms. Diane Vanetta, Lisa Humphreys, and Damani Nettles. Do we have any objections or other recommendations? Can we get a motion to approve those nominees?
I move that we accept the nominees as been listed.
Second. We have a second, or a motion and a second. Roll call.
Commissioner Peterson?
Yes.
Commissioner Berry?
Yes.
Commissioner Connell?
Yes.
Commissioner Burry?
Yes.
Mayor Reesman?
Yes. Would someone please introduce 6C2?
I'll introduce and ask to be read by title only.
Susan Street update, US 27 entryway, discussion and commission direction.
I will pass that on to Al.
Yeah, this item has been brought to your attention because of a potential major deviation in the concept. We have obviously done the Susan Street project in a design bid build fashion. So we went out, took your input, we designed those concepts. Those concepts then went to bid. We picked a construction firm. You all approved that with a 3-2 vote and approved about a $10.5 million project with Kingdom Construction to build the plans that were presented to you a few months back. The issue that we have with the project now is we had anticipated and hoped that we would be able to bring a major entranceway to Susan Street Park off of US 27. To do that, we had to work with 3 property owners, which is Benderson, which is the Gateway Plaza, Pat Sales, and the Pizza Hut. And long story short there, for differing reasons, we've only got one affirmative response from Pizza Hut in the negative, which they did not want to give us access. So that alone kind of stymies the ability of us to come through that area. We had some correspondence with their attorneys. We've probably had over a year of correspondence with the various entities. But long story short, the last correspondence we had with the Pizza Hut Corporation was through their attorney, who's an eminent domain attorney from Jacksonville. Pizza Hut was not interested because of parking concerns, but they could be interested for remuneration. So we asked how much they wanted. They never responded back to us, and with that, we left it. And we haven't really pushed the envelope with any of the other property owners in this joint venture to get access. But we're also getting to the point to where we're ready to pull the trigger, issue notice to proceed to the contractor, and start the project. I didn't feel comfortable signing off on notice to proceed with this big question because I think we sold the commission a project that we anticipated that would come off 27. I think our discussion said we had some issues with the concept, so I would be back to you if anything popped up. So I'm back to you. So with that debrief, let me give you Travis. And Travis will kind of give you more of a scope of the plans, the costs, and kind of some of the options that we're here for you tonight. And based on your input, we put it in resolution form to wherever you would want to, whatever your direction will be based on this, we'll move forward based on the discussion here tonight. So this is really the final discussion amongst you all on to go or no go or modify the plan on Susan Street or what have you. So Travis, take it away.
All right. Good evening, Mayor, Commissioners. I did not think we were going to have to be back here, but we are. So do you want to pull up the presentation? So we just go right to the next slide. Al summed up the entranceway pretty well. I believe this is the entranceway that we had proposed. The 3 property owners that are there were Pat Sales, Pizza Hut, and Gateway Plaza. If you look at it on a computer that you can zoom in on, it does show, the red lines on here show where the properties all come together. So Pat Sales has a little triangle that jets out in here. It's just this little area there. Pizza Hut has right in this area, and then the rest of it is Gateway Plaza all the way through the back. So this was the plan. It would just beautify the area, put some landscaping. Landscaping would kind of match the other entrances that are at the plaza coming down 27. And this is what we had. This is what we had proposed. This was the plan that you guys had saw the last time and had approved. We got the four full-size grass rugby fields, one championship turf field, and an auxiliary. We call it the auxiliary soccer field because we couldn't fit another rugby-sized field, so we threw an auxiliary soccer field in there, and then parking lot there coming off of 27 past those properties. Okay. So with all the discussion with the King's X no from Pizza Hut right now, the discussion we had with Al was, do we move the entrance or I believe it was brought to his attention to maybe dumb down the project down to more of like a $5 million project. We got with our architect and engineer to see what would that $5 million project look like, and this is what it would be. So we would have the 5 football soccer size fields. Parking would stay in its current location, but it'd be in all grass parking area. The existing restrooms, concession stand, and press box would all be the same. We'd have a PA system on. This is what we would call Field 1, and the southeast. If you guys are looking up there, the southeast corner field would have a PA system and Wi-Fi at that field. And the reason we'd keep it there is because that's where the press box would be. We would reuse all the current bleachers that are there right now for the baseball and football field, and then they would be lighted. So that in this plan, the lights are the big cost. Lights are very expensive when we go to lighting fields, and there's too much moving around to just move the current lights. We would need to go with newer lights. So that would be the $5 million option. Keep all existing facilities except bulldozing the fields and turning them into football fields instead of baseball fields. So the plan that we're proposing we go to is this plan. So it's the same exact plan as the original plan. It just comes off. We have the entrance coming off of William Street, which is just a little. I didn't measure it. Maybe 500 yards north of the entrance by Pizza Hut. It's just on the other side of Pat Sales, and then we have an entryway coming from that would connect William Street to the parking lot. I think one of the major keys of this would be that nothing in the plans has to change. Nothing. We wouldn't have to move the parking lot. We wouldn't move any of the fields. So if at any time that the property owners would want to re-engage in discussion on going back to that 27 entrance, it is always there and available. We would have a fence there with this current plan. Take the fence out, put a gate, and there's our entrance right back into that parking lot. We do feel that once the project is done and I think the positive impacts are more evident in that area, I think some of the property owners will at least open up that discussion back up. The local managers from Pizza Hut, I've talked to both of them, and they're very positive about it. It's just there's a disconnect between them and the property owners. So I think if we get good uses in there, good uses always drive out bad uses. If we get good uses in there, I think we have the opportunity to re-engage with those property owners. And if it never comes along, we still have the entrance off William Street. We have a great facility that's a dual-use facility for our local youth and tourism. We do feel if you go back to that $5 million plan, it turns into a single-use facility, which would be a great facility for our youth, but it does lose the appeal for the outside tourism. 5 grass fields isn't gonna drive people from across the country to come here. So that is the keys to this one. One thing that I did not have on this slide, and I intentionally did leave it off, is the marquee sign. That's the one big difference besides the entrance and the two highlighted areas, and we want to have a marquee sign. It's just we just got to figure out how we do it and where we do it. The DOT property at the 441-27 interchange, we just had to work with DOT to figure out how and where we could have one. So that's a discussion we started having with our architect, engineer, and construction guys. So that is one thing. It's not that we aren't going to have one. It's just we don't know exactly where it would go right now. We had to figure that out if this is the option that we go with. So if you go to the last slide. So this is the budget. I think we've seen these numbers quite a bit. Taking that entrance away, we do save about $300,000. That entranceway was going to cost more than that, but there is a cost we had to move some utilities to come off William Street and then paving that road to come in. So it's about a $300,000 savings going to that William Street entrance. I think the biggest key in this project is that even at $10.5 million, city funds are coming up with $3.5 million of that. So we're on the hook for 33% of the entire project. If you follow at all, which I do, the sports tourism world right now, there are multiple facilities being built in Central Florida and especially East Central Florida that are anywhere from $30 million to $130 million. ACOE just approved $1 billion facility. So there's a lot of money being thrown into these facilities, and I think a $3.5 million investment from the city would be good to bring in the tourism and good for our youth in the city.
Yeah, just so to wrap up, obviously we'll answer any questions, and we're seeking your direction, but you're really left with three options, which is the current plan, but we come off William Street, which we estimate the cost to be $10.5 million. Total city funds in $3.5 million of the 10.5, so about 33%. The second option would be to reduce the scale of the project to just basic changeover to rectangle fields, not including the rugby fields and not doing some of the bells and whistles with the championship field. So that was the $5 million option. In that project, we think we would lose the county TDC funding, but then we wouldn't need as much of the CRA funding. So all in $5 million with about $1.4 million of city funds, so about 29%. So the summation is not to do the project at all and cancel it, to do the $5 million version, or to do the current plan but come off of Williams and not US 27.
Any commissioner comments on this?
I have a question in reference to the entrance signage. Could you not do it off of Williams? I mean, what is the reason?
No, we would do it off of Williams.
The signage would be on Williams?
Yeah, we didn't have signage in the budget. Remember, even at that $10.5 million, there's still a $200,000 or $300,000 contingency that's embedded in the $10.8 million contract. So that's still there. So you probably would have money to do some type of marquee signage out at, say, Williams and US 27, which is by the old Burger King and the north side of Pat Sales.
Yeah, I have a couple questions and a statement also. As far as the access off of 27, when this came up, I don't know, 6-9 months ago, a year ago, I cautioned on spending any money on engineering consulting fees to obtain an access easement before we even spoke to the property owners. And it was still voted 4-1. So it just cost us $100,000 to find out we can't even get access. I still believe that this commission continues to put the cart in front of the horse on spending of money. There's certain things we should just obtain, or at least get a verbal consent before we start spending money. We spent $350,000 last month on stuff that we had to cancel. So that's, $450,000 we've wasted in the last several months on projects we're not even going to do. With that said, I wanted to make that statement. As far as William Street, what is the width of this right-of-way, I guess, you're proposing to put a road through?
It was right around 30 feet, and I believe our architect engineer looked into it, and they needed 22. So We had
And at 30 feet with 22 foot of asphalt, you can still accommodate the stormwater?
so he had said that the 22 feet was for the entire road. So I don't think
that's
it's.
22 feet of asphalt, right?
I'd have to get with him and ask.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Okay, so.
We can still get drainage in a street in a 30-foot wide access easement.
Okay, so is this, I mean, because
Actually, it's not an access easement, it's property we own.
But okay, I mean, because the picture was a little vague. Is this running
It's
through?
like
I mean,
did you get the?
yeah, I got what
Yeah.
you showed, but it didn't wasn't like an aerial showing houses. Is it running between houses?
Yes.
Well, it's a big,
One house,
yeah, it's that big green spot right there.
yes. The
So-
one house on the west
So
side.
we're going to divert all this traffic between houses off of William Street?
I mean, with all due respect, Commissioner, that's how it is now. You go through a neighborhood to
So-
get to the park.
So what's the advantage of putting the road in and just versus leaving the access the way it is?
Will you go back to the modification, keep going, yeah, there, use that plan. So with the shift in fields to get the larger size rugby fields, which are about 30% bigger than a football field, we needed to use all the west side property, and we needed to expand it south into the wetlands, hence the wetland mitigation. So to get the configuration of the 5 rugby-sized fields, a little teeny soccer field in there that is not being built at this time, and then the parking lot, we had to configure the parking that way. So to come in and use the existing Susan Street access would not enable us to put in the larger fields. So we're trying to get to the park. We were trying to get to the park off the highway. Now, with the major reconfiguration. So if we can't get it to off the highway, we still want the concept, but what now becomes the easiest and cheapest alternative to connect to the new parking lot is off of Williams instead of Susan. So remember, the current way to get into Susan Street is Griffin to Pamela to Williams to Susan. Unless you come in off of Williams, which probably only the locals know about, and zoom straight across. So what this concept does is it's pretty much the entry as is now, and instead of going all the way to Susan, which we need for grassy area and stormwater to get the stuff, we're going to take the diversion off of Williams.
How long is this new proposed strip going to be off of Williams to get to the parking lot?
300 yards or so.
And what's the cost?
Actually, not even 300 yards, probably like 150 yards.
What's the cost of paving 300 or 150 yards of asphalt to accommodate stormwater and everything? What's the engineering cost on this?
So he estimated $75,000 for that entrance. That would be moving all the utilities, adding any utilities we needed, and asphalting.
You're going to
through there.
asphalt 150 feet or 150 yards?
Yards.
It's going to be at least 150
You're
yards.
going to asphalt 150 yards at 22-foot width of asphalt, accommodate stormwater, and move utilities for that price?
That's our Ian from Kingdom Construction gave us the numbers.
You ended that with an upwards inflection in your voice, which indicates a question. So having said that, the estimate of the $10.5 million, the reduction of $300,000, is in consultation with the contractor and the engineer based on the unit prices. So they reported back to us when we said, how much is it going to cost? Can we get in this way? What's the price going to be to do the alternate concept? That number comes from the contractor, Commissioner.
Any other commissioner comments before we open it for public? Go ahead.
Go ahead. I have a question, please, Al. Just show me again. So if the William Street entrance is by the old Burger King, you will have to travel south on 441, or it just comes across? I mean, to turn in.
So you could go down Griffin, turn on Penn, and drive
Yeah, I know that
straight
way.
into it.
But off of 27.
Or you could turn at Captain D's onto Williams.
Microphone.
Sorry.
I can hear you. I hear you.
So,
But right now, though, in order to get to Captain D's, you have to go around if you're traveling north on 27, correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
So you have to
Griffin.
go, yeah, you have to go to Griffin and then come back up 27 or Griffin to Pamela. I got it. I got it.
To Pam.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, thank you. Yeah, I got it now. That's what I was trying to figure out.
Penn and Williams.
Yes.
And straight in to the facility.
So I supported this project at $4.5 million. Some of this is redundant, but and then it went to 7.5. I started choking a little bit. I grumbled a little bit. And when it hit 10.5, I voted against it last time. Now, to me, it's gotten worse with this entrance. But I still stand by my original comments. I see this $5 million idea. The only thing I would say is just an idea, and I mentioned it before. I mean, I would support cutting it back. I would support $5 or $6 million for the sake of our youth and our community and improving this park. I'm fine at the $5 million number. But my comment is, why not follow the existing site plan in case down the road we wanted to, 5, 7 years now, somebody decided they want to build the stadium, for example. That we would, we'd have to update the site plan, but at least it would. I just throw that out as an idea. Follow that site plan versus a whole new site plan. But in summary, I just can't get behind 10.5 million on a bet on sports tourism. I will fully support anything, around half of that for the sake of our youth here in the community.
Any other comments before we open for public? Any public comments on Susan Street? If you would, please come to the podium and state your name and address, and 3 minutes.
Your starter on the close. There you go.
Chuck Johnson, 1330 Citizens Boulevard, Suite 404, Leesburg, Florida, 3478, my hometown. I'm here to encourage you tonight in making this difficult decision about Susan Street. You can judge my community by the way we take care of our children. Mr. Peterson just simply said that. But I'm talking about the children 20 years from now, 30 years from now, 40 years from now. We have a chance to do something great for a lot of money. But you're going to forget about the price a long time after my children and your grandchildren and their grandchildren are going to enjoy Susan Street. Once again, I encourage you to just build the project, build the $10 million project, be daring, spend the money. We're going to spend the money anywhere, somewhere. That's going to happen. Spend it on a youth, spend it on a place that people will come again, visit our community, make it great like Pat Thomas. You know how I feel about that. Make it great like Sleepy Hollow. But make Susan Street great too. And you can only do that being brave, being decisive, being leaders, spending the $10 million and following the project as it was originally designed. My children, grandchildren, 30 years from now will thank you greatly. And I appreciate your time as always. Thanks for being leaders.
Roger Croft, 1125 Sunshine Avenue, and full transparency, I'm also chairman of the Rec Advisory Board. The one thing I'd like to say is that for all the right reasons, we're considering all options. And I respect what everybody's saying. The one thing I will tell you, and I agree with Chuck, 10, 20 years from now, we're going to think that we got the biggest bargain out of spending this money on Susan Street. There's a difference why people come here for bass tournaments. There's a lot of towns that have lakes. We were smart enough to develop, the ski beach area around the lake. We have a facility where we can host that. Pat Thomas, I'm sure there was a lot of resistance to putting Pat Thomas in at one time, but here we are 80, 90 years later, still enjoying it. And not only we're enjoying it, the entire Lake County community. And I was just in Nashville and I talked to a player who had actually played in Pat Thomas. Made me feel great. Okay. We need to decide right now, do we want it for our children and the community? Or do we want to compete in the realm of being able to use it for tourism? I mean, nobody thought, I guarantee you, when we talked about Sleepy Hollow, nobody thought we were going to be having national tournaments played during spring break with Big Ten schools and Pac-10 schools and everybody that is, all the collegiate women that have played at that facility. Nobody thought that was going to happen. I'm telling you, it's possible. And we could attract a lot of tournaments to play, and I can tell you at a fraction of the cost that other communities have spent for the same type of facility. We have the land, we just need to finish it. I mean, we have a beautiful complex, we just need to finish it. And there are Central Florida communities that have spent 10 times this to have the same type of facility. And I think it's the right time and it's the right decision. So, thank you.
Any other public comments? I'll just say, since I've been on the commission, it hasn't happened a lot, but over the past 13 years of me attending, how many times do commissioners dumb down a project because it's too much money, and then a year or two later, they're like, why didn't we spend the money and do what we wanted to originally? I think our kids deserve it. I think the economic development is going to help us. I want to see our future generations, my kids and my grandkids, play on these fields, and also the economic development. I will support this, and in hopes, maybe once we get this going, that these surrounding properties will come around and we'll be able to add that 27 entrance. But I think this is a critical thing for Leesburg. It revitalizes that area, and I think our kids and our future generations deserve it. Thank you.
I do have a question, though. The major difference between the $5 million and the $10 million is just really reducing the size of the fields from rugby to football, soccer. Is that the major difference?
And the stadium, I believe.
And the stadium.
I mean,
you basically go from 4 rugby-sized fields, which are about 30% larger than a football field, that are grass, and 1 rugby-sized stadium that's artificial turf with bleachers, press box, lighting, the parking lot change, and all the ancillary things, the restroom, concession stand, and press box, to basically the same facility. And instead of having baseball and a soccer and a football field, you have 5 regular-sized Bermuda grass football fields with lighting. So it's a significant difference.
Okay, but I've heard tonight about supporting our youth and everything else, and I absolutely agree with that. Well, our youth in this area are going to play football or soccer. They're not playing rugby. So if we want to support our youth, football and soccer fields is what they're going to play growing up. I just don't know it's worth basically double the price to make rugby fields.
I think, we're talking about rugby, but you got to throw in there also lacrosse. Lacrosse is a sport that is developing in our area. I'm not sure at the high school, there's a girls, there's a lacrosse program, and that size field is bigger than a football, bigger than a soccer field. Most of our soccer is played on football fields, and they're not regulation size to begin with. So the reason the rugby field is, we keep talking about that, is because that's the biggest, and you can play all sports on it then. You're not limited to what you can do.
And some of the speakers touched on that. I mean, 10, 20, 30 years down the road, I mean, if we're going to do it, we need to do the big fields. I mean, things change, like we didn't talk about lacrosse 20, 30 years ago. Now we talk about it. I don't know the future of rugby, but so it ties back into, I struggled with it in the last vote, but now to me it's gotten worse with the road. Maybe we can fix that over time. I just saw the map. I mean, if you come from out of town, that's not very impressive. You're not going to be impressed trying to find it. You're going to be frustrated from the beginning because you won't be able to find the place. But I guess I go back to, I would do the bigger fields, and why not? You may have the votes tonight, but if you don't, at least follow the site plan and do what you get for $5 million, or six. I'd even go to $6 million. And down the road, let me go back to Sleepy Hollow. We had Sleepy Hollow. We started the sports tourism. It did very well for a couple of years, and then we spent more money at Sleepy Hollow, added fields, to accommodate that. So I see a chance to grow the complex down the road if needed. So stop right there.
Yeah, and one other point I want to make is that, we've got about $2.6 million in federal money involved in this. We've got $1 million worth of county money. The county believes in it, the TDC. We've got a legislative grant that our local legislators got us from the state. And then it's CRA money. So, this is an incredible opportunity for us to say, hey, our youth is worth it, our businesses are worth it, and it's something that I'm passionate about, and I believe that it's a good move for the city of Leesburg to approve this. And I'm all for it.
Yes.
I'd like to add my comment, please. This is in the heart of District 1, which is the district that I serve. And I am excited about the opportunity in which we've had long discussions about it, and the opportunity for young kids to learn about these sports they're not aware of is a plus. And I only requested that we have our nice fencing with our greenery, that I didn't hear that included.
It's still in there.
The aesthetics will still remain the same.
It's not Claricia, it's a different bush.
Listen, our aesthetics will still remain the same, but the benefit of the opportunity for jobs in the community, as well as young youth learning different sports with an opportunity to receive scholarships as well from graduating from high school, to be able to perform with all other students that would not have this chance if it wasn't in the back door of their home. So I still stand what I said. I'm supporting it. I just want to keep everybody protected and keep the aesthetics as like we discussed. So thanks.
Any other discussion from the commission? Seeing none, we'll have roll call. So, we need to make a motion of what item we're going to go with.
Yes, in the resolution.
So I would like to make a motion with the revised plan to have the new entrance come straight off of the Penn-Williams intersection.
$10.5 million option.
Yeah. That's it.
$10.5 million option. And do we have a motion? Do we have a second?
I'd second it, please.
All right. Any discussion on the motion?
I do have a question on that. So you were saying earlier, Al, that this revised paving of 150 yards and stormwater and everything is part of the proposal. If that comes back and changes, you come back to commission on a price difference?
If it's outside my spending authority, yes. So that's what's my spending authority on is 50 grand or 3% of the project.
3%
I'm looking at
of the project.
or 1.5 or something.
How much?
There's an amount that you can go over on the project. It's like 1% in 50,000 increments.
Yeah, I thought it was 1.5%.
1.5%. So it's 1.5% of $10 million in 50,000 increments. So if there's a deviation that's over 50 grand and we haven't gone over 1.5% of $10.5 million, I got to come back to you. If we have $10,000 changes, I won't be back to you. So it's basically $10.534 million plus 1.5%. Once that 1.5% threshold is exceeded, I have to come back to you.
So you're saying you can go over?
100 grand.
I just don't see how they're going to pave this and take care of stormwater for that price, but, okay, that was my comment.
Thank you, Commissioner. Any other discussion? All right. Roll call on the motion.
Commissioner Berry?
Yes.
Commissioner Connell?
No.
Commissioner Burry?
Yes.
Commissioner Peterson?
No.
Mayor Reisman?
Yes. Moving on to informational reports, we have none. City attorney items?
No reports this evening. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, sir. City manager items?
Just on that note, I should keep my mouth shut, but I just feel compelled because this is an important statement, I think, and I apologize ahead of time. Because I want to speak to Commissioner Cannell's report about in the last 4 months we've overspent $450,000. So I just wanted to put some perspective into that and at least give you my feedback. And back in August, you all can judge my performance on that and have what you will. This May, I'll have been a city manager for 30 years. So 30 years in the profession. And I think I've seen a lot of different things occur. In Leesburg now, over 11 years. And I think one of the most exciting things that I've seen happen in Leesburg is
For lack of better words, we have picked a lot of low-lying fruit, and we have made a lot of accomplishments. From meat and potato stuff to keeping electric rates down, to keeping water flowing, to fixing things in hurricanes, all that's low-lying fruit. And we've done a couple of big projects, the Venetian Center, the Teen Center, the aquatic facility, and we had lots of back and forth discussion on all of those. And I would still suggest to you that those projects are low-lying fruit. On our table here lately, I think we have now progressed to projects that are high-hanging fruit. And as we reach higher to achieve different projects that have longer implications, they have more tentacles, they have more problems, they have more unforeseen issues. And I think you're seeing that clearly on the two big projects that we have before us. Susan Street, yes, we put the cart before the horse a little bit on this parking issue. But you know what? For the life of me, and I would say Grant, and I would say Travis, I am shocked to death that those three entities didn't respond back to us quicker. And if we had waited, we would still be on the drawing board. So yeah, I'm disappointed $100,000 has gone out the door, but the stage is set that we have that access for, and I won't shy away from this, when those businesses come to their senses and realize that they had opportunity to fix a three-way cluster of horrible ingress, egress in a parking lot that the police department and the EMS respond to at least one significant major time since I've been here. So that was opportunity fixed. But the point I'm trying to head to is this was a project that had multiple tentacles, that was a tough project, that's high-hanging fruit, but in the long term is going to benefit generations to come. The next project that's been on our desk, and we've had the same conflict, same discussion, same are we wasting money, is what we're doing down in downtown. You know, should we buy the Tropic? That's a waste of money. Should we invest in parking? That's a waste of money. Should we get rid of the partnership? I mean, in that project, we are talking about parking improvements, demolition of a facility, moving two organization around, moving a department to a different facility, and we're getting it done, and we're staying within budget parameters that we set out. And then back to Susan Street, in my 30 years of experience, I have heard ad nauseum, spend other people's money, be creative. This project, you're only spending $3.5 million out of 10 of your own money. You guys only have 30% skin in the game. 30% skin in the game. I would challenge any other municipal corporation, any other political subdivision in the state to say that they did a project and only have 30% skin in the game. So I'm bragging a little bit, but you tackled a humongous project and you don't have that much skin in the game. And last week, we made a decision based on pending litigation. There is no clear-cut definitive answer that the state was going to support Senator Trunow's bill and demand that fluoride get taken out of the water. We did that because that was the fiduciary thing to do, at least in my position, and that was my recommendation to you, and we changed course on that project. If you've seen the legislation in Tallahassee, there is legislation that's sitting on those legislators' desks that takes away CRAs. Effective October 1, 25. No more projects. So therefore, if you were going to say, Mr. Minner, let's not do this project and let's spend that 441.27 CRA money, all $6 million of it, somewhere else, that could be fine until July 15th. If the state legislature supports that bill as written, that money could be there. But come October 1, that money could be gone. So this statement is just to say, I think you guys are doing significant projects. They're cumbersome because they're high-hanging fruit. And I think at the end of the day, I think our experience, our record has shown that once we finally get these things set, we stay within budget parameters. We argue about it till the cows come home, but once the things are set, we've pretty much stayed within our target once we know all the answers. So that's what we will endeavor to do. Tomorrow, I will instruct Travis to issue notice to proceed, and I will report back to you accordingly.
Thank you, City Manager, for that. Roll call.
Commissioner Peterson?
Nothing tonight.
Commissioner Berry?
Yes, I have a couple of things. The first is the Dining in the Dark with the New Vision of Independence was on March 6th, a wonderful experience. New Vision is relocating from, is that Mount Dora, Eustis to Leesburg. I highly recommend us as the city commission and as our community to support them. Wonderful things that they do. I also want to just add on to what city manager just stated about the CRAs going away. This is very, very, very important that we all, by March 11th, tomorrow, join in at 4 p.m. And I just want to know, what can we do together as a commission to put in our comments, or do we do individually? What would be the most effective impact?
The best thing we can do is have a resolution in opposition to the proposed bill. And if you want, Commissioner, I will have that agendized for the next meeting, and you all vote on it and send it to Tallahassee.
Okay. Well, they're asking for tomorrow for us to do something as far as calls in. I think it's really important that we will all suffer, not just in the most impoverished areas, but within the city. Every CRA will be gone. No, we can't do anything. I mean, we'll be limited, major. So that was my one thing that I was hoping to bring
And
up.
if you do need a statement for tomorrow, and I'll look into that, if the commission is all of the same opinion on this, I can draft a letter on behalf of the commission and have the mayor sign it. And I'm seeing everybody nodding their head. With that. So I'll plan to do both. You know,
Okay,
I'll
thank
get a letter drafted on behalf of the commission and have the mayor sign it. And as well, I'll have a resolution ready for the next meeting.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for bringing that to us.
Is that it?
That's it for me, yes.
Commissioner Cunningham?
Nothing.
Commissioner Berry?
Nothing tonight.
Mayor Reisman?
Couple things. I attended the Arts Festival over the weekend, and I thought that was a good layout and nicely attended. Upcoming events I hope you guys can all make it out to is the Shamrockin' Festival is this weekend, the 14th and 15th. And then the Leesburg Special Events does a phenomenal event that is one of my favorites. It's called Blooms and Brews downtown. Highly recommend that on March 22nd. And then one of my favorite events of the year is the Chambers Spring Fish Fry on April 3rd. You have never been, you need to go. And then just a little follow-up, the LHS boys basketball fell short in the third overtime with a score of 54-47. But they fought hard, and they did make us proud, and I know they appreciate the support the city commission gave them. And last, I just want to touch on, I know we might all not see eye to eye on a lot of things, but I like how we can come together. I've learned a lot from all of you guys. You guys bring a lot of wisdom, and I enjoy working with you. And we have some great city manager and deputy city manager and staff. They do a great job for us, and I look forward to continuing working with you guys on future projects. Yes, sir.
May I make one more comment?
Yes, sir.
I just want to clarify that the $350,000 does not fall on Al Menor for fluoride. That falls on the commission,
Yes.
and I will fall on that sword. But I do not think it's fair for Al to take the blame for that.
Yes, sir. And with that, I will take a motion for adjournment.
Second.
So moved.
We have a motion, a second.
Oh, I moved it.
Meeting adjourned.
I moved it, Joy.
We're done.